Welcome back. Now what we need to do is that we need to work on the product quantity. We need to display a plus and minus buttons so that once the user clicks on plus, it increases the quantity, and if user clicks on minus, it decreases the quantity. Let me head on over to the project to work on it. Blade.php, and then in the cart, we need first to do two things. Actually, three things. First, we need to copy this input, and then we need to paste it above this input, and now we have three inputs. The first input, the value of the first input will be minus, and the name is going to be decrease. I'm going to say here decrease underscore product underscore quantity underscore button. This name is super important. Without this name, we will not be able to decrease the quantity. Similarly, for increasing the number, I'm going to say here value plus, and the name here, the name is going to be increase underscore product underscore quantity underscore button. We need two things to take with us. We need to take the quantity as well as the ID, because we need to know the ID of the product that we want to increase its quantity. So here I'm going to create a new input, another input called another input that has a type hidden, and the name is going to be ID, and the value is going to be double curly braces and then product square brackets and then ID. And we need the input is going to be number, the input is going to be text, and the value is going to be product quantity, and the name is going to be quantity. And also you need to say here read only, because we should say here read only because the reason why we need this to be read only is because we just want to display the number, and if user clicks on plus, we will automatically increase and change that number. If user clicks on minus, we will do this for the user. So the user shouldn't type the number, the user should just click on plus or minus. Now we need to activate this form. So to activate this form, we need to give it two things. We need to give it method. The method is going to be post, and the action is going to be double curly braces and then root, and then I'm going to say edit underscore product underscore quantity. So also we need to say here style, and then we need to say style and then is equal to, and then here display inline block. Also this, we need to say style and then display inline block. Now we need to head on over to, after we add the @csrf, we need to head on over to the web to work on edit, to create the edit product quantity root. Let me head on over to the web.php. So in the web, we need to create this root. I'm gonna copy these two lines because they are gonna be the same as they are gonna be the same. So I'm gonna paste them here, and then I'm gonna change this to edit underscore product underscore quantity, and here the function name is edit underscore product underscore quantity, and the name of the root is edit underscore product underscore quantity. In case the user tries to edit the product using a get method, we will not allow the user to do so. So I'm going to say here edit product quantity, and then it's just going to redirect the user to the main page in case the user tries to edit a product using a get request. We also need to create the edit product quantity. So let me head on over to the cart controller to create this function edit product quantity. I'm gonna say here function, let me give myself some space first. I'm gonna say here function edit underscore product underscore quantity, and we need to pass the request as a parameter request, because this is a post request, and then we need here to get the product ID and the product quantity. But before we do this, we need to first use if statement to check whether we have a cart or not. Because if we don't have a cart, it means that we cannot increase or decrease any product because we don't have any product in the cart. So we need to say here request and then session and then has cart. If we have a cart, if the cart is not empty, if we have a cart, then we need to get two things. We need to get the product ID. We need to say product underscore ID is equal to request input, and we get the ID. Similarly, for the quantity, we need to say product quantity. So the product quantity is going to be equal to request and then input quantity. Now we need to do a very important thing, which is accessing the cart and increasing that quantity of that particular product. So we need to say here cart and then request session and then get cart. Get and we need to access the cart. Get cart. Now we have the cart. Now since we have the cart, we need to access that particular product. And to access that particular product, first we need to check whether we have that product or not. We always need to add extra protection so that we don't mess with the system. We don't ruin the system because the user might something could go wrong and the user might mistakenly go to a route that would increase a product that doesn't even exist. So we need to say here array key exists. This function is going to check whether the product ID, product underscore ID, exists in the cart session, in the cart array. If it exists, then we can increase the quantity. So here, in case it exists, we need to say cart product ID. We need to access that particular product. We need to say cart product ID, and then we need to access the quantity key, because this cart product ID is going to return an array, an associative array, and we need to say quantity to access the quantity, and then we need to say the quantity now is equal to the new quantity, which is the product quantity. That's it. Finally, we need to put the cart, the updated cart, back into the session. So we need to say request session and then put, and then we put the cart back into the session. Cart. And finally, we recalculate as usual. We recalculate the total. So we need to call this and then calculate total cart, and we pass the request. This is going to recalculate the total again because the total now obviously has changed because the quantity now has been decreased or increased. Finally, we just need to return to the cart. So after all of this, we need to say here return view cart. And I want you to notice that I'm returning to the cart regardless of whether the cart is empty or not. We don't care. We just need to return the cart. If the cart is empty, then and the user tries to edit something in the cart, it's just going to take the user to the cart without executing this code. So there is no problem with returning to the cart even if the cart is empty. The last thing that we need to do with this function is that we want to determine which button has been clicked, because without knowing which button has been clicked, we wouldn't be able to know whether we should increase or decrease the quantity. Because now the quantity, we got the quantity, but the quantity will never be changed because the quantity is the same, is always going to be the same unless we determine whether we should increase it or decrease it. And to determine whether we should increase it or decrease it, we need to check which button has been clicked. whether the decrease button or the increase button. And to do this, we need to add here if statement. We need to say if request has, if the request has, if the request has the decrease product quantity button, let me copy the name, then it means that this button has been clicked. This is why I told you the name is important. So if the request has decrease underscore product underscore quantity underscore button, it means that the decrease button has been clicked. Else if request has increase underscore product underscore quantity underscore button, it means that this button has been clicked. Let me copy the name. Let me paste it here. So else if the request has increase underscore product underscore quantity underscore button, it means that the increase button has been clicked. Else it means neither of the buttons has been clicked. So here, in case the decrease button has been clicked, we need to decrease. In case the decrease button has been clicked, we need to decrease the quantity. So we need to say product quantity is going to be equal to the original quantity minus 1. And in case the increase button has been clicked, we need to say product quantity is equal to the original quantity plus 1. We increase it by 1. Else we do nothing. Else the product quantity will remain the same. We don't do anything. Now we are done with this function. Now if you click on plus, it will increase the quantity, and if you click on minus, it will decrease the quantity. However, if you click on minus when the quantity is 1, the quantity will be 0, and this is a problem. And if you click on minus one more time, it will be minus 1, and the total is going to be in a negative number, and this is a problem. We need to remove the product from the cart as soon as the quantity goes to 0 or less. So let me head over to the project to work on this. Here in the edit product quantity function, here we need to add if statement to check whether the quantity is 0 or not. I'm gonna here say if and then product quantity. If the product quantity is smaller than or equal to 0, what we need to do is that we need to call the remove function. I'm gonna say this and then arrow and then remove from the cart function, and I'm gonna pass the request which contains the product information. So if the quantity is smaller than or equal to 0, it will remove the product from the cart. Let me now save and let me test. Now if I click on minus when the quantity is negative or 0, it will remove the product from the cart. As you can see, the product has been removed from the cart because it doesn't make sense to allow customers to decrease the quantity to 0 or less.